Alright, the last thing in this unit I want to show you is literal equations and formulas. So the definition of a literal equation is an equation that involves two or more variables. Now, solving for a variable, there's a couple steps for this, and the good news is the steps are pretty much the same as what we've been doing. Very first thing you need to do is undo anything being added or subtracted to the variable you want to solve for. And then the second step, undo anything being multiplied or divided to the variable you want to solve for. Here's the kicker. It might not be a number that you're adding or subtracting. It might be another variable, right? So you've got to treat it exactly the same, but just know that it might not be a number that you're undoing. So, for example, if we have the distance equals rate times time formula, and I want you to solve for r. Okay, so you got to get r by itself. So look at the formula. R is being multiplied by t. You want to get r by itself, do the inverse. The inverse of multiplying by t is dividing by t. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So what this is going to leave you with is d divided by t is equal to, and t divided by t is just 1r. But I do want you to start getting in good habits, so we're going to put our variable that we solve for first is equal to distance divided by time. That's our answer. Okay, no numbers were involved with that, but that is our answer. So this is going to be a little bit different, but the steps are still the same. So for our second example, solve for width, w, if perimeter equals twice your length plus twice your w. Very first step, get rid of anything being added or subtracted to the variable. Remember, this is what we want to solve for. Whatever's being added or subtracted, that's your 2L. The inverse of positive 2L is a negative 2L. Subtract that on both sides. So we're left with P minus 2L is equal to, these are going to leave you with nothing but a positive 2W. And now I want to solve for W. W is being multiplied by 2, so do the opposite, do the inverse of multiply by 2, divide by 2. Divide by 2. Your perimeter divided by 2 is just going to be half of P, or P divided by 2, minus your length, because 2 divided by 2 is 1L, and that's going to give you your W. Again, I want to get you in good habits, so our width is equal to, I know I don't have a lot of room here, sorry, half our perimeter minus our length. It's a little different, but the steps are still the same. This might take some time getting used to. Sometimes we might have to find the value of the variable, so there's a couple steps here. First step is you need to solve for the given variable, and then substitute in the given values. So, for example, solve for y, then find the value of y for each value of x. So 2y plus 4x, oh, sorry. Sorry, anybody walking around, he goes crazy. Alright, so this is what we need to solve for. We need to solve for 2y plus 4x equals 8. We need to solve for y. So the very first step, get y by itself. So, let me just get rid of that. There we go. So add or get rid of anything being added or subtracted to your variable. Your 4x is being added, so the inverse is going to be to subtract 4x from both sides. Sorry, I can't make that a good x. So 4x minus 4x is nothing, leaves you with 2y is equal to 8 minus 4x. And now, last step, get rid of anything being multiplied or divided by the variable. Y is being multiplied by 2, so do the inverse. divide by 2 on both sides. So y is going to give you, let's see, 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 divided by 2 is 2x. But again, I want to get you guys starting in good habits. So your variable should come first. It's not a 2x, it's a negative 2x. Your sign that comes before the number, the coefficient, always tells you whether it's positive or negative. So it's a negative 2x, and it's a positive 4 as a constant term. So now I've solved for y. So once I've solved for y, done. Now I need to find each value of x, and that's given. They want to know when x is negative 2, when x is 1, and when x is 3. I'm going to clear this out so I get a little more room here. Okay, so here's the equation that we just solved for. So now plug in negative 2 for x. So all we're doing is substituting what we started off the year doing. So negative 2 times negative 2 is, careful, positive 4 plus 4. So y is 8. So when x is negative 2, y is going to be 8. Now do the same thing, but this time solve when x is 1. Alright, you guys should be doing all these examples with me here. So y equals negative 2 times, this time it's going to be a 1 plus 4. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 4. And a negative 2 plus 4 is 2. And then finally, our last one. What is the value of y when x is positive 3? So negative 2 times positive 3. So multiply. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 plus 4. And negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. All right. So this is how you would find the value. All right. You've got to solve for the variable first, and then plug in the given values. All right. So this is what we will be doing tomorrow. All right. See you then.